Hello, buddy, and welcome to a tropical update here. Another tropical update. This is satellite imagery off of GOES 16, of course, as you see on the top left of your screen there. This is showing the current activity going on in Atlantic here. You can see at this point in time, there's only two named storms at this point. You got Tropical Storm Kyle, which is expected to become post-tropical shortly if it isn't already, according to the National Hurricane Center. And also we got Tropical Storm Josephine as well, and I'll talk to you a little bit more in detail on that in just a second here. And we also got a new area of interest to watch here. Right about where my mouse cursor is a potential area to watch over the next coming days as it enters the Caribbean, where if it does enter the Caribbean, conditions may be favorable for some further development along with time. Then along to the east here, the far bottom of your screen, the bottom right of your screen, you can see this wave coming off Africa, this pretty good wave coming off Africa, and we'll see what happens with time over that. The models aren't too excited in terms of this being an intense or strong storm by any means, but of course we'll see about that in the coming days here, because of course the situation can change pretty fast here, especially in the Atlantic. We've seen for past seasons and in the season so far, of course, before. Here's a wide view of the Eastern Pacific, and you can see a lot going on. You got two tropical depressions here. Tropical depression 10E right here, my mouse cursor is, and then tropical depression 11E right about my mouse cursor is, and you got another area of interest also to the southeast here. Right around there that has a high chance of formation. I'll get into that specifics on that a little bit here. Firstly, let's look at Tropical Storm Josephine here. This is imagery again off of GOES 16 here. I apologize for kind of the shaky nature of this IR loop. But you can see this IR imagery of Josephine, and the center of circulation is still being sheared right now, and the center of circulation is a little bit to the left of where those big bursts of convection are. Again, if this center of circulation right about my mouse cursor was right over these big flare-ups of convection, we'll be talking about a completely different animal here, and you can tell it's being sheared as well by these cloud tops streaming to its left, streaming to the northeast there due to that high wind shear. So at this point in time, Josephine, if it does try to strengthen, it'll most likely be maintaining its strength at this point in time from the looks of it here, and then eventually go on and further weaken here. But I'll show you the latest cone here. This is the latest cone as of the National Hurricane Center, 11 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time advisory here, and they forecast Josephine to weaken to a tropical depression past Sunday evening there. And pretty much it's peaking out at this point in time if it hasn't already. There's the latest update as of the National Hurricane Center, 11 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. Advisory number 8. It's currently located at 20.1 degrees north, 62.6 degrees west. Maximum sustained 1-minute winds are at 45 miles per hour. Moving to the west-northwest at 14 miles per hour with this latest forecast cone. And then let's go ahead and read the discussion here. This discussion, you can stop the video right now and read all of that if you want to. I'm not going to stop it. And here you can see they have Josephine weakening from here on out. Past the next 12 hours, they have it gradually weakening and then eventually turning into a post-tropical or remnant low in about 60 hours, give or take. I'm going to have it turn into a tropical depression strength storm in about 36 hours from now, as of this latest update that they put out at 3 UTC today on the 16th UTC time. Then we got Tropical Storm Kyle going on right here. This is the latest forecast cone from the National Hurricane Center showing Tropical Storm Kyle here. You can see it's a little bit weaker than it was in the last advisory. It peaked out as a 50 mile per hour tropical storm. Now it's a 45 mile per hour tropical storm, expected to become a post-tropical storm. And by the next update, as you can see there from the National Hurricane Center, moving to as of this latest advisory again, moving to the east-northeast at 20 miles per hour, maximum sustained 1-minute winds, 45 miles per hour. Center is located at 40.0 degrees north, 60.4 degrees west, as with the 11 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time advisory number 6 for Tropical Storm Kyle. Let's go ahead and look at some IR imagery of, that's not Kyle, this is Kyle, of Tropical Storm Kyle right there. You can see it's, of course, being heavily sheared by some strong winds here there, so the center is becoming more and more elongated and not as pronounced as it was earlier over time here. Hence why you can see why the National Hurricane Center forecast Cal to be a post-tropical storm by the next advisory they put out for this storm. So a little short-lived storm, but a nameable one at that, and of course beat the record for the earliest K-name storm, surpassing the previous record set by the infamous Hurricane Katrina 2005. Thankfully, this is not going to be anywhere near Katrina. In fact, again, like I said last update, it's moving away from land areas at this point in time safely. But you can see it's again heavily sheared, still some convection trying to fire off to the east of the center there. Times remains to be seen how long it decides to hold on to that. And looking at the latest frames there, looks like it's the convection is waning now, and it looks like it's going to be dissipating quite shortly here, probably by the next update, like the National Hurricane Center forecasted to. Looking at this IR imagery. And then here is Tropical Depression 10E right now. And the Eastern Pacific, this is visible, not visible, this is IR imagery rather, I should say, of Tropical Depression 10E. As of the latest National Hurricane Center update, they say it's barely holding on to Tropical Depression strength status, and I have to agree with them here. Just looking at how this storm is right now, I can see that naked area of rotation there, that center of circulation, not really much in the way of cloud cover trying to form over or near the center of circulation here. Earlier you could see it was trying to form earlier on the south side, but it kind of went away for a second, and now looks like in the last few frames it's trying to have maybe a last ditch effort to try to sustain that convection just a little bit longer here, but time is ticking out for Tropical Depression 10E. No longer forecast to become Tropical Storm Fausto here, and you can see that in the latest National Hurricane Center forecast here to have it remain in a tropical depression here. Over time, and thankfully, like I said, this storm poses no threat to land, absolutely no threat at all. The only threat this storm will cause is to any shipping interests nearby this storm, hence why the National Hurricane Center is still counting this storm in their tropical depression count for the Eastern Pacific this year. They've had a lot of tropical depressions this year, not too many in the way of named storms or hurricanes here this season so far, but of course that can change on a dime here. But this is the latest forecast cone. That's the 3-day cone, and that's the full 5-day cone. And it's moving stationary as of the latest update, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time Advisory 12. Center is located at 13.1 degrees north, 133.8 degrees west. Maximum sustained winds are at 35 miles per hour, and it's stationary in its movement at this point in time. And you could go ahead and read the forecast discussion for this storm. Again, forecast to pretty much maintain its intensity for the next few hours here if it doesn't dissipate already, and then eventually dissipate later on over time here. So that's Tropical Depression 10E. Then we got newly formed Tropical Depression 11E currently going on as well, as of the latest National Hurricane Center update on this storm as of the 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time Advisory number 1 for this. The center is currently located as of this update at 18.4 degrees north, 118.6 degrees west. Maximum sustained 1-minute winds are at 35 miles per hour, making it a tropical depression strength storm. Moving to the northwest at 12 miles per hour there. And here's the latest infrared imagery of Tropical Depression 11E right here in front of your screen. You can see some decent convection firing off around the center here of convection. Time remains to be seen if this ends up ultimately given the name be given the name Fausto, if it keeps this up or not, if it just stays Tropical Depression strength status like Tropical Depression 10E is at this point in time. National Hurricane Center, however, aren't forecasting the storm to reach tropical storm force intensity as it heads into cooler sea-surface temperatures and more hostile conditions here. And like you can see on this latest discussion here, and you can stop the video, of course, and read that if you want to. But in this latest discussion here, they have it weakening to a post-tropical / lower low system in about 48 hours from this last advisory at 3 UTC on the 16th of August here, UTC time. What's also going on around the tropics here, we have an area of interest that newly formed in the Atlantic here. The one I was talking to you about earlier, in this wide view of the Atlantic here, the one right about here, that's firing off a little bit of convection around its center here. And you can see this is the latest update on it. 20% chance of formation throughout the next 5 days, and a low 10% chance of formation throughout the next 48 hours. There's something to watch here. Of course, you could see a westward moving tropical wave located over the central tropical Atlantic, several hundred miles east of the Windward Islands. It's currently producing limited shower and thunderstorm activity. However, uplevel winds are expected to become a little bit more conducive for development by the middle of next week as the disturbance approaches the central and southern Lesser Antilles and moves into the eastern Caribbean Sea. So there's something to watch here. Again, a low chance of formation at this point in time, but again, we said it about Kyle not too long ago, and you know what came out of that. So definitely keep an eye on this. I'm not saying that this is going to rapidly develop into a named storm. This could easily just fizzle out and weaken here. We've already had 2 invests already this year that have had moderate chances of development here, but ultimately ended up weakening and dissipating into nothing, fortunately. So we'll keep tabs on this. I'll keep tabs on it, of course, and keep you guys posted on if that changes or not, if it gets worse or if it gets better. Here's the other disturbance, the other non-named storm in the Eastern Pacific Basin here. You can see a 90% chance of formation throughout the next 5 days. I'm not going to read the entire discussion like I did with the last one, but you can see formation chance through the next 48 hours and 5 days at a high 90% chance. And what that means again is 90% chance of this storm developing into at least a tropical depression strength storm or higher over time here, or in other words, a 10% chance of this storm not forming throughout the next 48 hours and 5 days, in other words there. And also on the Central Pacific, lastly, we have another area of interest here. It has a 50% chance of formation throughout the next 48 hours, and then through the next 5 days, a medium 60% chance of formation there. And here's a graphical outlook here, so you can see where that area of interest is located relative to the Hawaiian Islands there. Again, passing safely to the south of the Hawaiian Islands here. Let's go back to the Eastern Pacific, and you can see again that area of interest I was talking to you guys about earlier on infrared imagery off of GO16 there. And then again, imagery off of GO16 this time, and you can see that area of interest there marked in the yellow X right there. And of course, for official updates on what's currently going on in your area, of course, look at the National Hurricane Center and National Weather Service for official updates on these things. I had to refresh the page there. That was the previous forecast there. So say if you live in South Florida, click South Florida. It'll take you to the National Weather Service Miami, your local weather forecast office in Miami, and you get to click on whatever city you live in or whatever county you live in and get a detailed, accurate forecast from official government agencies here. And again, just to get on this site, to go to nws.gov or to weather.gov, or just type NWS simply, and it'll probably be the first result on whatever search browser or search engine you're using. And again, same goes for the National Hurricane Center here. Just type nhc.noaa.gov or just type nhc.gov or just NHC, and again, it'll probably be the first result on whatever search browser or search engine you're using to get on to here. And like I said in a previous update, you'll know that you're on the correct page when you see all this information right in front of you here. You'll see all this good information given to you by official government agency here, and you'll have that. So that's when you know that you're on the correct site here from the National Hurricane Center. And same goes for the National Weather Service. You'll know that you're on the correct site when you see all this good information right at your fingertips here. So that wraps it up for this tropical update here. Hope everybody has a great day or night. You guys are. Stay safe, of course. Make sure you, during this time, as we start to ramp up into near the peak areas of this Atlantic hurricane season here, and especially into next week here, when the conditions are expected to become much more favorable than they are now, for tropical cyclone development in Atlantic here. Just please keep an eye on the tropics here. Make sure you have a hurricane plan ready to go, so you're not caught off guard if we get under a tropical storm warning or tropical storm watch or tropical storm warning. And hurricane warning. Make sure you're prepared. It's better to be safe than sorry. As always, make sure you're prepared. Make sure you have your updated hurricane plan. You update everything. You have ways to look at official information like I just showed you from the National Hurricane Center. And of course, the satellite imagery here is provided by Tropical Tidbits from Libby Cohen. And then this imagery off of Josephine is provided from Cyclonic Wicks, a really good site as well. It's popping up and giving some really good imagery, especially Himawari imagery throughout the world here. So those are just some of the sources that I use. Again, Tropical Tidbits, National Hurricane Center, National Weather Service, Cyclonic Wicks, which is a new one that's coming up now. Really like that website. I like using it now. So yeah, hope everybody has a great day now. Again, wherever you guys are, stay safe, of course. Make sure you have a hurricane plan ready to go for this hurricane season. This one's looking to be, if the models again are to be believed, and no reason to not believe them at this point in time by the looks of it. It looks like it's going to be one brutal season here by the looks of it here. So hope everybody stays safe and listen to your local officials and keep an eye on the tropics here. It's going to be a rough run this season.